Hello, everyone. How is everyone this evening? I'm going to straighten up my camera just a little bit to say hello, good evening to each and every one of you all. And let me get in here. Oh my goodness, the live is just all over the place. And I need to blow this up because I can't see. I hope each and every one of you all is doing well this evening. I am Eve with the Baby's Booty, and we are joining you live from the East Coast. So it should be about 9 o'clock my time. Probably not 9 o'clock your time, but welcome. We appreciate you joining me, and I'm going to. There we go. That's a little bit better. Hi. When you're running the one woman film and directing and editing crew, it's kind of difficult to have everything done just so. However, how are you doing this evening? I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening on a variety of topics we cover here on this channel. The Baby's Booty, we cover embroidery for you or your business. We also cover some vinyl from time to time, rhinestones from time to time, sublimation quite frequently as well. And what else do? We do some of everything around here when it comes to crafting and finding things that will help us add value to our customization business. This is pretty much what it boils down to. We like to customize things, whether it be to create something for ourselves or for others as gifts or for profit. So thank you for joining me. And one of the first things I like to do here is acknowledge the folks that are joining us this evening, because without you all, I wouldn't have a channel. And I hope you can hear me. Can y'all hear me pretty good? Let me know if you can't hear me. Go ahead and shout about it. But right now, I need to blow something. I need this to be blown up because I can't see y'all. I'm just like, I can't see. You know what? I'm going to have to get my phone. Oh, you know what? Let me try this. Let's see if we can't get this one. We'll see if I can't get this to help me where I can see, because I can't see anything and I could be talking to myself as far as I know. And I see the chat scrolling, but I can't see what the chat says. So let's try to log in over here so that I can see what the heck is going on. And then I'll know if you can't hear me or not. So we'll go from there. But meanwhile, go ahead, let me know in the chat so that when I get to you, who you are, if it's your first time here with us or not, and what is it you are joining us for more information for. Would it be embroidery? Would it be sublimation? Would it be rhinestones? And where are you calling? Where are you joining us from? We get a lot of folks from Texas, so I want to see how many Texas people are in here tonight. That's going to be cool to see. But otherwise, I found this and I found this. So let me get us logged in. Yas. I can see. My sound is good. Awesome. Cheryl Melton is in here. Sherry Castro. Hey, love. How are you? Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Beverly Smith says hello to everyone. Inspiration Creations is in here from Canada. Hey, Lori. How are you today? Thank you for joining us all the way from there. American Eagle Embroidery and Graphics. Debbie Kidd, it's always a pleasure to have you in here and hope things are going well with you and your business. Kathy Snyder from Olympia, Washington. Oh, and Debbie Kidd, I apologize. Thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. I definitely want to point that out. Leanne Summers, hello, how are you? Deborah Harris, Neil, hello, how are you? So Crafty, Leila Nelson, and we also have Miss Tanya in here, and thank you to the three of you very much for being YouTube Hoop Group members. I definitely appreciate that. Debbie Chavis says, hi, Sheila Cushionberry. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Let's see. Let me just scroll down. I don't have my trackball hooked up like I'm supposed to. Shamira Customs. Hey, you hit the thumbs up. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome, welcome. Scooby-Doo. Hey, Scooby-Doo. I hope things are well with you and your family. I know it's been a rough couple of weeks, so thank you for joining us and taking time out of your schedule to be here with us. Mom of 12. Hey, how are you? Always a pleasure. Nakomi Butler, you're early tonight. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Karen Murray, good evening to you as well. Debbie Hutchinson, hello, Hoopsters. I know that's right. Welcome to the Hoop Group. Thank you for joining us this evening. The Young Beauty 95, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. I don't recall seeing your name, so welcome to the channel. Chris Smith Calavo, haven't seen your name either. Welcome. Hi, Eve. Love your helpfulness. You have a very kind heart. Well, thank you. I appreciate you telling me that. It can be difficult sometimes trying to know that what you're doing is beneficial. So I appreciate when you let me know that what you found here on this channel is helpful so that we can continue to create great content for you guys here on our channel. So thank you. And thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Betsy Boyd. Hello, Betsy Boyd. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Kimberly Armstrong, good evening to you as well. I keep messing with that trackball and that's not the right one. Just by being yo, hello, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Jacqueline G, thank you for joining us this evening. Olivia Garcia, hello. She says, hi, Eve, here to listen and learn. Well, we're going to have some fun with some hooping this evening. So I hope those of you who are in here for embroidery will benefit from the hooping information that we have, because a lot of folks have some trouble with hooping, especially when you're trying to hoop bulky items. So we're going to try and attack some of that this evening. Let's see. Jackie Maddox, hello. Erica McNeil, Michelle Anderson, Michelle Rosencrantz, hello. Lisa Cook, Norma Lazaro, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. Kathy Stewart, 8 p.m. Hello from Missouri. Welcome. Thank you for joining us from Missouri. Shirley Stewart, thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. I appreciate that. Scooby-Doo says it's 6:06 p.m. in California. I know. I'm jealous. Vera Benjamin, hello. My time got gone today. We're still unpacking, still bringing things over from storage. You would think I would have all of my stuff here. Y'all, too much stuff. And I still have yet to even go through it to destash, because that's my ultimate goal. Once we get everything here is to destash. But we'll get to that, because I'm covering a little bit of that also tonight to give you guys an update on the studio. The Young Beauty 95, who are you? Not sure. I'm Eve with the Baby's Booty, so welcome to our channel. Beverly Smith says, sounds great. Okay, cool. Pam's Country Sewing, hello. Ask you was on a video about a hat hoop for the 625. The hat hoop for the 625. 625 is the 4 needle, the 4x4 embroidery machine. What question do you have on that? Nice Soulful Creation, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us this happy Sunday. Yas. Eartha Lewis, hello. Always a pleasure. Welcome. Michelle Anderson, Dorian Bari says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well. Let's see. Miss 143 says, hi, with a Texas storm. You're here with a Texas storm? Oh, no. That's horrible. Hopefully you guys stay safe. Please stay safe. Because the weather is a hot food mess all over the place. And it's been some pretty bad storms around here, but not here, thank goodness, because we've got, with the new location, learning how the drainage works in this area, and now I have a basement, so it's like learning how that works. So the less moisture, the better at this point. So we're working through that. So you guys, she says, literally storming in Dallas. So please be careful. I'm going to tell you, like my grandma used to say, sit down, cut everything off, and be quiet. That'll mean you have to cut us off too. But if it means you being safe, I'm not worried about it. This saves and it can replay. Betsy Boyd says she's joining from North Carolina. Welcome, neighbor. Hello, how are you? I am in NC as well. Nice Soulful Creation says Callie in the house. Welcome, Callie. Pam's Country Sewing says, I have an SE 625, 2 of them in Ohio. Hoop work. Awesome. So now you mentioned something about hats, so I want to be sure that we get your hat question addressed. So definitely put that in the comments. If you haven't already, I'll get to it shortly. Kathy Stewart from Missouri, hello. Erica McNeil joining you from Alabama and restarting embroidery. Oh no! What made you stop? Marge Green says hi from Smoky Lakewood, Colorado. Welcome from Colorado. If I can get my words right. Alice Rigby is in the Bahamas. Nice, Alice Rigby. I need to be down there with you. Pat Ash says hello from Texas today. Well, hello, Pat, and thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. I definitely appreciate the support there. Chris Smith says from the boonies outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's not the boonies, is it? Welcome. Thank you for joining us from the boonies. Just by being yo says embroidery from Blytheville, Arkansas. Awesome sauce. Laverne Miller, hello, Eve and everyone. I enjoy learning everything you're teaching us. Thank you so very much. Quilts and embroidery are my interest. The quilting thing, I don't know. I'm going to try. At some point in time, I'm going to try and get back into it so Miss Bickup don't get me. But quilting has been an interest of mine, but I'm a little too picky to get it right. I'm so particular about certain things. So I struggled with quilting, but hopefully I can get back into it. We'll see. Waverly Bird, this is my first time from Kansas City, Missouri. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for your first time. We appreciate you being here. Miss Social Deb says Illinois here and here for the embroidery. Welcome, Miss Social Deb. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. I definitely appreciate that. Let's see. No Average Girl Stewart says Alabama embroidery and sublimation. Felicia Storm from Birmingham is here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Kim Compton from Greenville, Texas. Texas in the house. Welcome. Angelia Baker. Hello. Welcome. And thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate it. Lisa Cook says returning viewer from Southwest Florida. Would love to learn more about repositional hooping. Ooh. Repositional hooping is, once you learn how to do it, it's fairly simple. But the techniques of getting the embroidery ready for the repositional hooping is what is actually a little challenging. It's not so much the hoop that's the issue as it is the design. However, there are some measures that you can put in place ahead of time with the actual material that you're embroidering that can be quite helpful. So I'm a huge advocate of marking the fabric ahead of time so that you know exactly where the center points of your embroidery designs are going to be, and then splitting up the design from that point and getting your layouts correct on the embroidery machine. Because one thing's for certain, the repositional hoop makes it really simple to keep from having to unhoop your project and then hoop it again in another spot and make sure everything lines up just so. The repositional hoop allows you just to move the hoop itself in 3 different positions in order to get a bigger outcome with your embroidery designs. And yes, there's a little bit of a technique to it, but it can be done. And we probably need to readdress that and do an updated video on it with a little bit more complicated designs. But we'll show what that repositional hoop looks like this evening when I get an opportunity, and then we'll go from there. All right. Jill E says hello from Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you here with us as well, all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. Let's see, Marsha Jones, hello, welcome, and thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. We definitely appreciate that support of our channel. Katrina Gosha, hello, welcome from Birmingham. We appreciate you being here. Debbie D, hey Debbie D, always a pleasure to have you as well. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member as well. Marianne says hello, Pearl Lucas, hello, and thank you. Hubby told me to wear green tonight. That was his call. So ordinarily I wouldn't I wouldn't have worn green, so that was his call. Thank you. He'll appreciate that. Is it Della Castro Short? Hello from Marysville, Michigan. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Laverne from Orangeburg. Hello, Laverne. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Let's see. Heather Butler, hello, welcome, and thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. We definitely appreciate your support. Yvonne Bethel, hello, how are you? Welcome. Kimberly Armstrong asks, how do we become a YouTube Hoop Group member? There is an option down below, should be up under the video, where it says join. Now, I'm on a laptop, so I can see it on my laptop where it says join, and it's right beside the subscribe button and the bell button. So if you're on a computer, you should see that right up under this video where you can do thumbs up or share the video, or you can subscribe to the video. So right beside that is a join button. If you're not on a computer, if you're on the phone, it's a little trickier to find it. From what I understand, you would have to make the chat go away by clicking live chat, I believe. And then there's an option there to join the YouTube Hoop Group if you would like to. And the YouTube Hoop Group has 3 levels of memberships here on this channel. And each membership level comes with certain perks. Whereas the captains, which is the highest level, they get a free design, embroidery design from me every month. And they also, when I wasn't moving, they also get a live craft along with me once a month as well, private live here on YouTube. So that's a lot of fun, a nice perk as a captain. So that's an option as well. And also, there should be a link in the description below on how you can join. You should be able to click the link. I'm going to take a look and see, because sometimes that link works and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it just ain't right. Let's see. I don't see that link, so I'm going to have to make sure that I put that in there so that you guys can join that way as well, making it a little bit easier for you. Let us see. Ebony Holmes, hello, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Walk by Faith says, good evening, crafters. Good evening to you as well. Colette Martin is here with us. Hello. This is Ashley XO. Hello, how are you? Welcome, and thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. I definitely appreciate your support. Shirley Stewart says, hooping is an issue, but also would like you to do another rhinestone video soon. We can. Actually, what I'm considering is maybe blinging out a face mask, even though I know probably folks have it up to here with face masks, but it would be fun to do a face mask video. Now, whether we do one live or whether we do one where it's a structured video, not sure. Let me know what you think. Should we do a blinged out mask here on the channel live, maybe next Sunday, possibly? Or should we stick to just a regular video and do our favorite one-on-one live loose chat type stuff next week? Just let me know. Weigh in the comments below, and we'll see how it goes and what everyone wants to do. Let us see. No TV from Minnesota. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Linda is here from Katy, Texas. Welcome. Diana Henderson from Indiana. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Miss One says, I thought I was the only one who still believed in that old school, get somewhere and sit down during the storms. You got me laughing. No, ma'am. One of the things I've learned is the old folks are smart. They were very smart, and I learned a lot from my elders. So my grandmother was a very intelligent woman. Now, there's some stuff that I was like, okay, see, that's a bit much. But there are certain things where it's okay to stop and reflect and be patient and calm when there's a storm raging. And it's also calming if you can take it in and relax with it. I love a good storm. So haven't had too many here. It's been more like rain than storms. But I also now have a big, huge pecan tree in the front yard. The branches are all over and over the top of the house too. So I'm a little more nervous about storms in this area. So we'll see how that goes. Let us see. Quilting for the Soul. Hello, how are you? And Walk by Faith says she's from Houston, Texas. Welcome. Denise says, hello from New Mexico. New to embroidery and loving it. Awesome sauce. Welcome to the embroidery family. Embroidery is a lot of fun. It's addictive. Knick-knack nurse, I did get your message, and I will respond to that. I'm hoping by tomorrow. I don't have super pertinent information but we'll see what we can't dig up for you. Erica McNeil, my original machine stopped working properly some years back. Last week, I purchased the NQ 1600E and want to get back into it. Okay, cool. That's a valid reason to get out of it. But welcome back into the saddle. We are here to support you, and hopefully you'll get back into loving every moment of it. And Chris Smith is here by the amphitheater. They said the amphitheater. I'm out by the amphitheater towards West Virginia. Uh-oh, Kathy Stewart. Why is that? That's funny. You're welcome, Lisa Cook. So I am going to let you guys know before I read more about what Kathy Stewart has in store for us. And I don't, Kathy Stewart. Oh my gosh, where is it? Let me go grab. Oh yeah, I do. One of the other things we do here on this channel is we like to celebrate by ringing our bell. Okay, so one of the other perks of being a YouTube Hoop Group member is you get your emojis, and you can do the purple bell and ring your purple bell through the emojis with us. And once we get our decals, you'll also get a bell. Once we get our decals, I can't get the decals to go on the bells. I don't want to send out naked bells, but I might end up having to send out naked bells. But it's not fun when you don't have McQuacken on your bell. But anyway, we're going to lock that down next week. But at any rate, we like to celebrate. So if you get a new baby, a piece of equipment for your embroidery studio, whether it's your business or just for your own personal use, a new machine, or a new printer for your sublimation, a Cricut or a Silhouette or something along those lines to help improve your business, or just something you just want to celebrate your new piece of equipment, your new baby, just let us know in the chat what it is and that you already have it. Not that you ordered it, but that you got it already. And we'll celebrate with you by ringing the bell. We also celebrate new members. So if you become a YouTube Hoop Group member, we celebrate that by ringing the bell. And we also celebrate the super chats as well. So we appreciate the support that you give to this channel. And ultimately, we want to celebrate you. So definitely let us know whenever your business and your studios get something good so that we can ring the bell for you. Let us see. I am going to look Pam's Country Sewing Hat Hoop off Amazon, what size to get. It depends. What's the largest size hoop that your machine takes? If your machine is the 4x4, then there is a 4x4 hat hoop on Amazon, and that's the one you want to get. If your machine is the 5x7 version, then I think there's a 5x7 version of the hat hoop. You can get that off Amazon, but you have to be sure that your hoop size is what's listed on the description for the hat hoop that's on Amazon. Also, you can double check and make sure the model number of your machine is in the description for that hat hoop so that you make sure you get the right one. But you can't go with a 5x7 hat hoop if you have a 4x4 embroidery machine. It will not fit your machine. So definitely want to check that out. All right. So Kathy Stewart says she got the Brother Innovis NQ 1600E 6x10. Look at you, Miss Kathy Stewart, out here doing it big. 6x10. Congratulations. I know you were super excited when you got your baby. What was your first project? Have you embroidered anything yet? A lot of folks come in here with their new equipment and say, I got a new baby, but they haven't even used it yet. So let us know what you've worked on already, and congratulations on your new baby. Let us see. I'm going to scroll down in the chat, and it's probably, yeah, I knew it was going to skip. That's what it's been doing for me. Let's say, yes, please, it would be great if you had another live chat on the rhinestones, okay? Uh-oh, somebody else losing sound. Let me know if the sound goes out, okay? Yolanda, hello, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Mary Stovall, thank you for joining us this evening and for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. Angela Chase from Murfreesboro, welcome. Kimberly Armstrong says she finally received her sublimation printer. Congratulations, Kimberly. Which one did you get, the 7710 or the 7720? All I know is most of the embroidery and sublimation materials on Amazon and other businesses are hard to find. I was shocked when I looked at the 4x4 embroidery machine and the 5x7 embroidery machine, and the prices on Amazon are stupid. I mean, ridiculously stupid. And to see those prices versus what they were 6 months ago is crazy. It is absolutely insane at how they've doubled the price pretty much on both machines, and it's actually sad in my opinion because it's blocking the people who were originally able to afford to get into doing embroidery. Now they're not going to be able to afford it as easily. So now the 4x4 embroidery machine, where it was $350 roughly at the most, sometimes 400, is now $850, $900. That's insane. And then the 5x7, there I saw it as much as $1,200, and that makes me really sad because that was why I started this channel doing those smaller machines, because that's what most people could afford. So now to snatch that from the general public, it's kind of makes me sad, and I hate that. But for those of you who are able to get it at a reasonable price, congratulations. I'm glad you were able to get into it while you can, because right now it's cutthroat out there and it's actually really sad. Let us see the sawgrass. Oh, she got the sawgrass. Holler, not the sawgrass in the house. That's what's up. Meechy Black, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Miss Ethel Smith, hey Miss Ethel Smith, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Nakomi Butler says, I found you because of your rhinestone videos. I don't do rhinestones yet, but one day maybe. I'm still here because of embroidery. I use my SE 1900 for sewing, but I need to use it for embroidery. Embroidery is a lot of fun, and when you have that combo machine, it's really cool because you can get the best of both worlds. We don't sew as much here on this channel, but we do definitely enjoy using the embroidery side of it. So if you have any questions, just definitely let us know. Sharice Mims from South Carolina, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Tracy, hello, how are you? You guys are in, let's see, that's 2 people okay with the face mask bling, so that's going to be fun. Leela Nelson says, on the red line, is there an option to duplicate the design in one hooping or to combine a design, or you have to do it in the embroidery software? My MB4 has the option to do it in the machine. Well, because the 6 needle, I don't recall that even having the option in the software. But on the red line, I'm not sure. Mainly because I rarely do any editing, any creating, any of that on the machines, even the 6 needle, because once I became experienced in using Sew It Pro, I don't use the machines for anything. I do all of that ahead of time on the computer and then take it over to the machine. That way I know it's right and I don't have to worry about lining up anything or having to do any editing standing there at the machine. So unfortunately, Miss Leela Nelson, I can't answer that question. I haven't dickered around with the software on either the red line or, well, I did a little bit in the beginning with the brother, but lately none. But I know I haven't done it with the red line in trying to edit embroidery designs, because to me it's just so much easier to do it on the computer and then take it over to the embroidery machine. Now I did learn how to rotate designs. I had to learn that. That was imperative because a couple of designs that I took over from the computer to the machine flipped themselves. So I needed to definitely edit that. But otherwise, I don't duplicate. I don't see why it wouldn't, but I'll have to look into it and see. Sheila Cushenberry says she's gonna get some of that storm. I hope not. Rhinestones is good. Okay, well, we'll look at doing the rhinestones next time. So what we were going to talk about tonight is the hooping of fabric, hooping stabilizer, what you should look for, what you may be having issues with, and definitely you can weigh in on any concerns you may have with hooping. I know there are a ton of folks in here who are very experienced with embroidery. They've been hooping for millions of years. Um, but there's always room for learning something new, possibly, or improvement. So we'll definitely go into that. And whatever tips or tricks you may have with hooping, please let us know in the comments, because especially with those who are experienced, we definitely want to hear from you. So one of the things I was looking at working on tonight was doing some kitchen towels. Now, it would be interesting for us to go into hooping something a little more bulky, and I'll see about grabbing some bulkier towels for us to hoop. But for the time being, I bought these awesome, cute kitchen towels. They're Auntie M's rather kitchen towels. They're 25 by 5 by 15 by 5 size towels, and I'll open this one up so that you can see how large it is. And if you follow me on Instagram, the baby's booty, so it's Instagram at the baby's booty, just as it is down here at the bottom of this video, you'll see it says thebabiesbooty.com. But if you take the .com off, that's what our Instagram handle is. You'll see the end result of some towels that I embroidered earlier last week. And hooping these were a cinch. Number one, the lines are already there to help me keep the embroidery straight. And number two, it's pretty thin, so it doesn't take a whole lot to hoop these. And the cooler thing is I was able to use my mighty hoops in order to hoop them. But just for the sake of seeing how well and make sure I'm not out of practice, I did hoop one of them with my regular hoops. So we'll cover a little bit of both of that. But one of the first things I want to show is hooping your stabilizer. Now this is a 4x4 hoop. For those of you who have the smaller, you don't have the multi-needle machines, your mighty hoop isn't an option for you, but there are magnet hoops available for you. So we'll go into that as well. But for the time being, for those of you who are new, your hoops come with two pieces, right? So there's the inner ring and the outer ring. And the whole point in hooping for the embroidery is to hold your fabric still and stable, so that as it's moving around and as it's being embroidered on or stitched, it holds it in place and it doesn't move. Because one thing's for certain, if you ever hooped a project and didn't hoop it tight enough, or hooped it too tight and it popped apart, you felt the tragedy and the frustration of losing a great stitch out because your fabric and your embroidery design moved on you. So it lost its registration, so to speak. And that's annoying, especially if it's a project that, say for instance, you had an order for a customer of tea towels and it wasn't hooped properly. Well, you just wasted a towel as well. So you would have to replace the towel, buy another one, or, and it's just a wasted product technically, because you can use it in your own kitchen. The towel, in my opinion, never goes to waste. So you have options for those mess ups, but how do we avoid those? And that's the secret to making sure that you get a good secure hoop every time. Now, last week, I believe we reached into the absolutely phenomenal high-end stabilizer holder, and we talked about the different types of stabilizers, and knowing what stabilizer goes with what project is a subject for a completely different video for sure. But stabilizers are super, super, super important for embroidery. All right, stabilizers are basically the main backbone to all good embroidery. People argue that, I'm sure, up and down, and there are instances where you can embroider without stabilizer, but they are very few and far in between. And unfortunately, you run the risk of your fabric shifting because you don't have something to stabilize your fabric. So why take that risk? You want top-notch, flawless embroidery every single time, right? That's, the ultimate goal. So why not go ahead and stabilize it correctly the first time? So I'm going to go ahead and cut off some of this stabilizer so that I can show you what we're looking for, or what you should be looking for when hooping your projects and getting a flawless hooping. Getting a flawless hooping every time you hoop your project. Okay. So one of the first things you definitely want to do is have your stabilizer cut in as close as possible to the size of your hoop, but not too close to it. And I'll show you what I mean. I know that sounded crazy because it sounded crazy to me. But you want to have some overlap, and I'll show you why. So here, normally for a 4x4 hoop, you would want to go with a piece of stabilizer that's about 8 inches by 8 inches. So this one is cut just a little bit short this way. It's not 8 inches this way, but it's 9 this way. So we're going to work with that and go with it. But 8 by 8 is usually really good. And you don't want to go off of the inner hoop. You want to go off of the outer hoop when you go to do your stabilizer. And that's because you want to have some overlap on your hoop. That way, if you have to give it a slight tug, hopefully you won't have to, but if you have to, you can do a slight tug once it's hooped and try and make sure you have no wrinkles on the back side of your stabilizer, right? Because we want to have it nice and smooth and nice and taut. And we're going to show you what taut is. So I'm going to go ahead and hoop this tea towel on this 4x4 stabilizer and hoop, okay? So let's see if we can't move you just a little bit closer so that you can come over here to the dark side because I need to get extra lighting over here. But for the time being, we're going to go with the lights that we got, okay? All right, so let's turn you more that way and get you going. All right, so here is our outer hoop. Here is our inner hoop. And then here's our stabilizer, which goes under your project, okay? So once you get your stabilizer there, you want to get your project. Now, ordinarily, what I would do, actually, let me move this real quick so I can show this part as well. Find the center from one side to the other side. If you want your embroidery design centered, find your center point. And I generally do that by measuring. Now, this ruler isn't long enough. Actually, let me go ahead and just grab my clear ruler. I love these clear rulers because they show you where everything is underneath, and it makes it easier. So this is a 16-inch wide towel. All right, so the center line is 8 inches, and the cool thing is this is already folded and creased at the 8 inches, so that helps me out. But from the top to bottom, because I want my embroidery to be in the lower third of this particular tea towel or kitchen towel. So I need to find the center from there to there. So being that this line is already marked for me, I don't have to worry about that to find the center there. But to make sure that it's where it needs to be from top to bottom, I'm going to measure and find the center here. And this is 12 inches. So that will take us to 6 inches, which is right in here. Okay. Now for me, no, actually with this particular design, that's going to be perfect. That's going to be perfect. So I'm going to make sure that this is straight. And I'm going to use the mat, the lines on this mat, to make sure that I'm lined up exactly where I want it to be. And then ordinarily at this point, what I would do is use a water-soluble marker and draw a line on here. Now, some people don't agree with the water-soluble markers because they say that it's not going to wash out clean. So I use the magic pen. It looks like this. What I generally spray this with is I'll get a spritz bottle of water, which I don't have one right here to show you, but a small spritz bottle of water with just a little itty bitty bit, a couple of, like half a capful of white vinegar, distilled white vinegar, and shake it up and use that. And this disappears right off the bat. I don't know what that little itty extra bit of vinegar is, but it works and it's absolutely phenomenal. Whereas water alone, this doesn't disappear as quickly. Okay, so then I'll take the water soluble pen, draw a line straight across. I can see it barely, so I'm gonna mark it one more time. Make sure it's lined up where it's supposed to be. And I'm going to get back to the questions here in a moment. I'm going to use the fatter side so that you guys can see it better. And there I have my line to let me know where I want the center of my embroidery design to be. Now I'm going to double check that because I know I moved the ruler myself. And ordinarily I would go back and double check. And I did drop it. I wanted it a little bit lower than that, but I'm going to leave it where it is. So it's a quarter of an inch lower than 6 inches. But that's great for me because this is just a simple towel and it's going to be a really quick gift for another neighbor this time. So the markings on there, remember the up and down is the fold, and the side to side I marked it because the fold is there. If that fold wasn't there, I would have done a crosshair, a line here as well. All right. So what this does is it helps me line up my embroidery. Now on the embroidery hoops, there is a clear grid that comes with a 4x4, and you can use that to line up your design. But on this particular hoop, there are markings on the center of the sides and the top and the bottom, okay, to let you know where the centers are so that you can line up your embroidery. So you would take the bottom, and what I'm going to do is, because this is pretty thin, I'm not going to loosen up my hoop very much, but I'm going to check it right now to see just how snug it is with just the hoop by itself, no stabilizer, right? So I'm going to slide it in, and that's a pretty tight fit. All right, so I know that if I put my stabilizer, which is right here, it's not super thick, it's pretty thin. So I have my kind of thin stabilizer and kind of thin towel. So I'm going to loosen this some, but not a whole bunch, and give it a whole lot more play. Actually, I'm going to loosen it just a little bit more so that I shouldn't have any issues hooping this, because you don't want to go to try to hoop it to begin with and it's super tight and you can't even push it down, and you got to take it apart. Whereas if it's just barely loose, it won't hurt anything and you can kind of tighten it a little bit, even though it's better to get it hooped correctly the first time. All right, so we'll put our stabilizer down, and then I'm going to lay this towel down. And just by looking at the way it is from the pressure and the outline of the outer hoop, it's a little high, so I'm going to move it down some. And this is just eyeballing for right now to make it easier for me to line up this top. So now I'm going to use that purple line there and line it up with the sides guides on this hoop. All right, so it's still a little high, so I'm going to move it down some, just a little bit. All right, and now I put the top part of the hoop in, but the rest of the hoop is up out, right? And I'm able to see that on this side, it lines up perfectly. But on this side, it's just a little high. So that's where you can take a little tug, not super hard, but just a little tug, straighten it up some. It's still just a little high. Straighten it up a little more, and there I have it. It moved both sides down, but I think I'm going to be okay with that. Let's see. Move it up some. And there I have it. And I'm going to straighten it out because I don't know if you can see this. I'm trying to lift it carefully, see if I don't mess it up. So yeah, there's a pucker that is too loose. And it's also not centered now that I'm looking at it. I have it this way, but I don't have it centered that way. Actually, yes, I do. What am I talking about? Oh, yes! I didn't even see it. All right, so let's slightly stretch this. You don't want to stretch it tight, super tight, and have it to where it's just super tight, especially before putting the two hoops together. Because if you do that, then when you put the two hoops together, it's going to tighten it even more, because once you put that pressure in and lock these two hoops in place, it's going to add even more pressure and tighten it the rest of the way out the way it's supposed to be. So just a smidge loose, not very loose, but just a smidge. And then we're going to slide these hoops in place. All right, and you shouldn't struggle, but it should be pretty tight. Okay. In my opinion, that was still too tight. I should have loosened it a little bit more. But there, you can still see the crease. But as you see, it's pretty smooth right here to have it hooped from the side all the way around. There's not much play in it, and it sounds like a drum. That's what you're looking for. You definitely don't want any wrinkles or puckering or anything with your stabilizer back here. And that hoop still wasn't all the way in the back. But that's how you want to have your project hooped. This is a good hooping. So you see you have your lines, they're lined up. Those lines will save your life. The lines, any markings that are there that will help you keep everything nice and straight, that's what you want. You want your job to be easier. You don't want to have to work super hard and then do all that embroidery and come back and see that the stuff is crooked because you didn't take the time to mark. And like I said, you come back behind it, spritz it with that quick mixture, a whole bottle of water and little less than half of a cupful of the white distilled vinegar, and that will get rid of that purple line. All right. So let me go back to questions. That's one hoop. This is a 4x4 hoop. That process works with any two-piece hoop system. Okay. This is how you want to hoop with any of your two-piece hoop systems, whether it's for your multi-needle, whether it's for the 4x4, the 5x7, all hoops pretty much work the same way. The difference will come in when you're using a towel or something super bulky like a blanket or something along those lines. Okay, so I'm going to set that to the side, and then I'm going to pull you guys out some so that it's not focused so on tummy and boobage area, and we're going to go back into our chat and make sure I'm not missing any questions, and I'm going to scroll all the way down. Latasha says, I love hearing that drum sound. I do too. Oh my gosh, it's just like whoop, and I listen for it every single time, and I absolutely love it. Even when I'm hooping just stabilizer, you still want to have that drum sound. Okay. Did you use stitch and tear stabilizer? When I did my kitchen towels for the first gift, I did it stitch and tear, but it was also wash away as well. So it was a combination of both. Yes. The answer to your question, to tear away, yes, I did use tear away. Now, in some instances, you would want to prefer to use cutaway on the back of a kitchen towel. Why do I say that? And that's getting into stabilizers, but really quickly, your cutaway is more stable than the tearaway stabilizers. And at the end of the day, when you're adding stitches to a garment or to any fabric whatsoever, you're weighing down that fabric and adding more bulk to that fabric. So whenever you're adding bulk to something, you want to support it to make sure that over time it doesn't fail. So not only are you adding bulk, but your needle is penetrating that fabric over and over thousands of times, and it can wear and unravel your fabric. Have you ever had a garment or a towel that was just absolutely gorgeous? It could have been something from when you were younger, and you washed it and washed it and wore it and washed it, and then it just kind of like disintegrated over time, and it just ended up looking tragic. Well, that's because when you are doing extra things to a garment, you want to support it and add structure to it so that it doesn't fail over time. And that's what that extra layer of stabilizer does. Now, on lighter fabrics, such as this towel, and lighter versions of embroidery, lightweight embroidery, then you don't have to stabilize it that hard. It's light embroidery. It's not a whole ton of bulk added to it. So yes, tearaway should be sufficient with that. And you shouldn't have any issues out of using tearaway. You may notice some puckering, which I even did just a little bit on my embroidery that I did on that towel. But for the most part, it should be a smooth, gorgeous embroidery. But the bulkier and the heavier it is, the design, the more you want to add some stability to all that bulk and all of that stitching to make sure that your garment or your towel or whatever it is doesn't fail over time. And some people, like I'm that way, I don't like the backside of embroidery and seeing it. Like when I give a gift, that's how I used to do my baby blankets. When I used to make baby blankets, I would have a 2-layer baby blanket because I didn't want the people to see the cutaway stabilizer on the back side of the blanket. I added more work to myself, although the front side was like a flannel or a fleece, and then the back was minky and it was super cute. But I was adding extra work to myself because I didn't like the back side of the embroidery. But at the end of the day, the most important thing was people seeing that gorgeous baby name or the design that goes with the baby's decor in their nursery, and that was what wowed people more so than, oh, I don't see the back of the embroidery, you know. But it does add an extra elegant touch, which it should add to the price of what it is that you're working on if you add a second layer to hide that, but you don't absolutely have to. Okay. And if you go in any store and look at an item that's already embroidered, then in most instances you will not see a stabilizer back there. Shirts, yes, a lot of times you like polo. I know you look on the back of a polo shirt, you'll see the stabilizer cut around the embroidery. So it just depends on what you're looking at and who did the embroidery and things like that. There's all kinds of ways to beat the same drum, but that's trial and error. But hooping all the way across the board for the most part remains the same. Now there are some people out there, which is fine if you so choose to do so, because there's no hard, fast, absolute end of discussion rules when it comes to embroidery. But to make their lives easier, they choose to not hoop their items. They choose to just float. Okay? And floating is fine. If you're okay with floating and you're able to secure your fabric some kind of way to your stabilizer, float away. I'm not going to argue against that because there have been times where I floated, because I usually, when I embroider, the towels I prefer are the towels from like Target because they're super thick and super plush. Well, embroidering those towels, it's going to be impossible to hoop a towel that thick and plush with this size hoop. It really is. I have to use my mighty hoops on my larger machines with those towels. But if I want to do 4x4, I can. I would just have to float it. But if it's not secured enough, that is going to shift around and it's going to throw the registration off with your embroidery. So you have to know how to either pin that well, pin it way out of the way of your needle to avoid damaging your machine, or use the spray adhesive, something similar to this spray adhesive embroidery spray, but I don't particularly care to use this because it can gum up the needles. Some embroidery machines don't like spray adhesive, or some embroidery machines come with a feature where you can stitch an outline around a square around the outer area of the hoop to tack down your fabric. That's an option as well on some machines. Not all machines offer that. So there's a couple of other ways to skin a horse, but I have found the main tried and true, if I can hoop it, if it's thin enough for me to hoop it, I prefer to hoop my projects, because I'm one of those who like to set this on the embroidery machine and go do another project on an embroidery machine, or go do another, get a next design ready on the computer, something like that, and let the machine do its work. That's my type. Whereas if I float, then I usually have to babysit it and make sure nothing happens to my embroidery while it's on the machine. All right, so she said, Latasha says she's the float queen. Well, once you find a method that works for you, work at it. Okay, one of the things that we do here on this channel is show all the different avenues that are out there, but I do definitely prefer to show manufacturers suggested type settings on doing things with your embroidery, so that once you do learn the proper way, then you add any other way, and it's entirely up to you. All right. Miss Social Dev said floating is her thing too. And if you have the fast frames with the multi-needle machines, then you're going to float. There's just no option of getting around that, because the fast frames, there's only one piece to the frame. So there's no two pieces to those frames. All right, but that's also why I love my mighty hoops, and we'll get into that too. So Trisha says, hi, even everyone. We just bought a 1501 red line. Got it on Thursday and been watching a lot of YouTube's videos. We mentioned you to Valerie at Redline and got an extra set of hoops. Thanks. You're welcome. Congratulations on your birthday. Guys, 15 needles are awesome. Love that machine. Don't it sound good, girl? Tell them it sounds good. Hear that thing rumbling over there in the corner. It is awesome. Cindy has a question. Okay, it'll get to it. I'm getting up there. I'm going to scroll right back up and make sure, because I see folks doing the purple bell. So did I miss ringing a bell? Oh, no. Let's see. Davita. Hey, Davita. How are you? From Maryland. Welcome. See Beverly saying something about, Beverly says she just got the brother. Oh no, it went away. Oh, there it is. She just got the brother 1034 DX Surger. Congratulations, Beverly. Yeah, we like surgers around here too. Surgers help. Yes, they do. Congratulations on that. And welcome, Debbie. Thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. We appreciate you being here with us this evening and appreciate your support of our channel. So I scrolled back up. So I definitely want to make sure I catch everyone. Leela says you got your new laptop and embroidery software installed with no issues. So you're back up and running, and you were down for a while. We definitely want to celebrate a laptop, because laptops are essential to our embroidery. I'm trying to tell you, congratulations on your laptop. And for those of you who may not have embroidery software yet, okay, if you don't have embroidery software yet, I promise you it will make your life so much easier, okay? You are able to do all your designing and editing and get it right over to the machine with less headache, less stress, less fuss, okay? You can also take away stitches, you can add stitches, you can cut designs out and all that jazz. There are several different options out there available to you for embroidery design editing, but the one that we promote here on the channel is Sew What Pro. Sew What Pro is very affordable. Very, very affordable. A lot of the other embroidery programs out there are ridiculously expensive, hundreds of dollars, whereas Sew What Pro is $65, whether you purchase it from thebabiesbooty.com or if you go to their website, snscomputing.com. You can go to either one and purchase it, just as long as you get Sew What Pro and use it, because it is going to help you with your embroidery. It really is. And the fact that the price tag is so friendly and you can do just about any kind of editing you could think to do with Sew What Pro, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Now, that program is not for digitizing, which is taking a picture and turning it into embroidery. That's not what that program is for. This program is for an embroidery design that you may purchase or that you may have made, and you want to make changes to it, whether it's increase it just a little bit or shrink it just a little bit or add a name up under a picture or something along those lines. That's what Sew What Pro is for. So embroidery editing programs are excellent. So if you don't have a computer and using that method with your embroidery machine, you may want to check that out, okay? Let us see. Heather Butler says she's thinking about getting a surgery too. It can be very beneficial. Hey, Latasha, how are you? Got my first heat press, small craft press from Stalls, and it's pink. Holler. That's cute, Miss Karen. Congratulations. I haven't seen a pink heat press. I'm going to have to look that up. Get us a pink heat press around here. See if we can't find one. Pam's Country Song. Okay, thank you, my 4x4 hoop. Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. Kathy Snyder, you got the Cricut Air 2 and the Cricut Maker. Lots of vinyl projects in the making. You got two Cricut babies in her studio. That's what's up. See, I didn't miss ringing the bell. I just gotta go back and get to it. Congratulations on your two Cricut babies. That's awesome sauce. Kathy Stewart says, my first project on my new machine was a canvas-like material with a fresh baked bread design to keep my buns warm. That's funny. I love it. Please post the picture. So here on the Baby's Booty channel, we have a lot of fun learning and teaching other things, but we also like to inspire, okay? So when it comes to doing embroidery, sometimes you can get into a rut. Well, check us out on Facebook. We have a Facebook page now. It's the Hoop Group, or you can look up the Baby's Booty, and you can find the group there and request to join, and we'll get you in as soon as possible. We also have our own forums, which are free of charge as well, and that's here at thebabiesbooty.com. You can go to thebabiesbooty.com, click up at the top where it says join once you get to the website, and enroll there. Either place you can post pictures of the projects that you've been working on, or surf and see what other folks have been working on in their studios, and it's quite encouraging to see what other people are working on, and you can get great ideas of things that you can do in your own studios that you may not have tried. So definitely give that a shot. Somebody just recently posted a really cute zipper pouch that they've made, and they said that their mom was looking forward to it. I apologize not knowing who it was, but I've scrolled through so much today, I can't keep it all straight. But if you go there, you can see the zipper pouch I'm talking about. It's totally adorable, all right? And that's on the Facebook group. So you are also free to ask questions and ask for recommendations or suggestions in the Facebook group as well. So definitely check us out on Facebook or on thehoopgroup.com. So a couple of different places where you can go inspire and be inspired in your embroidery, your bling, your vinyl, or your sublimation projects. All right. No bell ringing in there. No bell ringing. Only here live on Sundays do we yell and ring the bell. So join us on Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Baby's Booty channel. So let's go back to our chat. Michelle says she's keep watching Amazon each day for the Brother PE800. I know. As they have come back once in June and again in July. I got mine for under $7 in June. Awesome. That's good to hear. They should be due again here in August. Kathy Stewart says, I have trouble getting things to stitch out where I want them to and getting them straight on my project. Kathy, man, that's what these marks, I'm trying to tell you. Grab some of these pins. If you check, now I do know in the description below is a link to the Baby's Booty Amazon store. So I don't sell these directly, but I can refer you through our Amazon affiliate store to where you can purchase things. And I do have these disappearing mark pins in that store. So check out the embroidery things section in our Amazon if you don't mind. Or you can go on Amazon and look up disappearing ink pen or embroidery pen or fabric marking pen. You can do it that way as well. And find the disappearing ink pens. They are your friends. They are your friends. Now, test in an inconspicuous area first. But I have yet to use this on something and it didn't come out. Now, I wouldn't suggest it on something like leather or something like that that's super porous and a more strict or thicker, slicker surface. I wouldn't suggest that. But here I've used it on baby blankets. I used it on towels. I've used this on shirts. I haven't used it on silk. Haven't used it on satin yet. Or have I used it on satin? No, I don't do a lot of satin. So I haven't used it on satin, but I've used it on just about everything else. And as long as you can spray it with water, and I ain't talking about like heavy saturating it, just a light spritz with water and then them capfuls, the less than half a capful of vinegar, and this should come right out, okay? But test it in a hidden area first just to see how it works. But having those lines, having a visual, a guide, it's helpful. That's what it's there for. And it will definitely make your life a lot easier. And these are available on Amazon, so definitely check them out. All right. Let's see. Uh-oh. So Crafty said something about a needle. I purchased a dime sticky hoop for my brother's single needle and used it for the first time yesterday. It worked great. I will try to post in the Facebook hoop group great this week. Awesome sauce. So the sticky hoop for your brother's single needle and used it for the first time. Now DIME is an excellent company with hoops and extra peripherals that go with embroidery and doing embroidery things. Let me look and see if, give me a second. I'm gonna see if my extra hoop is over here. And of course I don't see it. Or do I? Nope. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so there are other hoops out there that you can do that will help you with hooping. All right, and here's one. This is a 4x4 magnetic hoop. This is on Amazon. So the reason why I'm showing this in addition to Miss So Crafty's question is because this could be used for the same thing as well. So this is the 4x4 embroidery machine magnetic hoop. The 5x7 embroidery machine magnetic hoop is made, it has a different bracket, so you can't interchange this with both of those, between those two machines. So make sure that you get the one that goes with your machine. But this is the magnetic version, and it just has 4 really strong magnets that will hoop your project. So if we were to hoop the other side of this, you put your stabilizer down, and it has raised areas to help you feel where the center is on this hoop, and you would lay it in place. Now this is, I'm pretty sure this is listed in our store as well. I'll have to go back and check to be sure. But you would lay it there, feel where the center is, and once you get your centers lined up, then you would use the 4 magnets in the corners to hold your project in place. So no two hooping at all. And there's your project, it's hooped. Now with the stabilizer, it wouldn't be as flexible. Alright, and I would personally try and add a couple of extra magnets in here to help hold it even tighter. But it's a beginning, it's an option, and it is on Amazon, and you can get this. But you also could use this with sticky stabilizer. Okay, so sticky stabilizer is a stabilizer that has adhesive on one side. Okay, and we'll show really quickly how that works, because it's a form of hooping as well, although it's closer to floating hooping. Okay, but you can use it. As a matter of fact, you technically could use this with a kitchen towel project, but I'm going to show you why I wouldn't use it for a kitchen towel project. Okay, so again, you want to make sure that your stabilizer fits your hoop, but your sticky stabilizer, you actually can fit it a lot closer to the size of the hoop. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Okay. And we're going to put that back. And notice sticky stabilizer so that I know what it is from the top. And then the back of this is pretty smooth, so you can peel this apart. And of course, you got to hold your mouth right. Another old folks saying, to get it to come apart or have good fingernails. Let's go from this side because I done bent that one all up. There we go. All right, and once you get it apart, this side is not sticky at all. You throw it away. But this side is. So this side is sticky, this side is not. And you would just lay it on the surface that your hoop is going to go on, and then just lay the hoop on the sticky stabilizer and try and keep it as straight as possible, because your stabilizer needs to be straight without any wrinkles or anything, and you want that same drum effect. All right, Now, the purpose of the sticky stabilizer, okay, so your stabilizer is here. So once you take your towel or whatever the case may be, you won't need your magnets. You just lay this on top. Make sure it's lined up. And your sticky stabilizer holds it in place. So see, the sticky stabilizer is holding your project. And then that way you can embroider whatever you need to embroider on this and go from there. Now, I mentioned that there would be a reason why I would not use sticky stabilizer. Say, for instance, on this particular kitchen towel. All right, the reason why I would not use it without carefully considering what I'm embroidering is because if you're embroidering something with a lot of spaces, like for instance, circles, whatever circle there is, you have to pick this stabilizer out from the back of the embroidery. And this isn't a wash away stabilizer, it's just tear away. So you would have to sit there and take your time and pick out all the negative spaces from the embroidery, the back side, like unless it's a filled in circle, like for instance, a solid embroidery design and this peels off and it's a clean tear, you're great. Good to go, no issues. I would use it in that case. But if it's like writing, like a cursive writing that says, you know, love the day or something like that, you have a lot of circles and holes in there that you got to pick that stabilizer out from the back. But aside from that, if you have a nice solid embroidery design, this is an excellent choice. But for those smaller ones, it's not so excellent. But it is also cool because if it's not hooped straight, for whatever reason, you can just peel it, resituate it, and stick it back down. So it's not like you stick one time and then you can't use it again. So sticky stabilizer is quite helpful. You're able to find it a number of places. Joann's fabric, I think, carries it in the sewing section on stabilizer. So it is an option. And this is the magnetic hoop. So if you have a 4x4 and you're interested in using this method, finding you some sticky stabilizer, you can get this magnetic hoop and use it as not just a magnetic hoop, but as you see, sticky stabilizer hoop as well. So it's really cool. And again, this is for the 4x4 Brother embroidery machine, and I'm pretty sure we have the magnetic hoops listed in our Amazon store. If not, I will go back and check. All right. So let's go back to the chat. We've hooped something else again, twice, 3 times. So that's 3 hoopings: magnetic, sticky, and now your normal regular hoop. And we're going to go into the mighty hoops here shortly because those are my favorite. Avery says, oh, hi, Iris. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm glad you caught us live, too. Avery says, hello, Eve. I purchased the Snap Hoop Monster for my PE800 this week. No more fumbling with the basic hoops. And that's pretty much what I just showed you. Now, it's not the DIME version because I don't think the DIME company makes it for the 4x4. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I didn't see it for the 4x4. They might. If they do, that's great. You pick it up, that's fine. But I do know that, as she mentioned, it is for the 5x7 machine. All right. Susan says, did you use Stitch and Tear? I think I answered that one already. Yes, I did. Scooby-Doo says, I use Taylor's chalk or just chalk. So there, glad you mentioned that. So there are other options that you can use other than the disappearing marker. Okay, so you can use disappearing marker. You can use chalk because there are Taylor's chalk, which of course I don't have right here handy to show you. Even though my Rolly chalk I usually keep right handy. I'm surprised I don't have it right here to show you. But there's a Rolly chalk that I have, Rolly chalk pen. There's also pens. A lot of times when I can't find this or this isn't appropriate or I can't find my rolling chalk, I'll use straight pens and mark in a hot minute. I sure will. And use that in order to line up my stuff and get it straight, because straight embroidery is good embroidery. You want to make sure that it's nice and presentable. So there are other options out there. It doesn't have to be just the water-soluble marker, but some kind of way, if you mark your fabric, that is what will help you make sure that your embroidery is nice and straight. And use the guides that are on the hoops. They're there to help you. They're definitely there to help you. Let's see. Let's see. Hi, Nina Bean. How are you? Welcome. Hi, Eddie Jr. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening, Eddie. Always a pleasure to have you in here with us. Cindy Cummins, is there any difference in how you hoop when using a magnetic hoop? Yes. Huge difference. Huge difference between the regular hooping and a magnetic hooping, because the magnetic hooping, hands down, is going to save your life. Okay. Hooping can be a royal pain, especially when you're dealing with bulky items. But the mighty hoops or the magnetic hoops that are out there, just everything. Just like I just showed you with the 4x4, it's not a lot. It's not super pretty, but it will get the job done. And you can even get extra magnets and put them on there in order to make sure that it helps hold your stuff in place. The magnetic hooping option has been great. It's been awesome. And I'm really glad that that company came out with a version for the 4x4 machine, because they didn't have that when I first started. Or was it available anyway? Let's see. Drew Keck. Hello, Drew Keck. I just lost it. Oh my gosh. Trying to make sure I don't miss anything. My sidekick isn't in here with me. Hi, Eve. Found your channel a month ago and you've helped so much. Well, thank you, Drew. I appreciate you letting me know that. And thank you for joining us live to let me know as well. That's awesome sauce. Glad to have you here with us. Gail McNair from Tucson. Hello, how are you? Let us see. Coming on down. Well, that red line 15 needles sure took me down a couple of notches. No, it did not. We celebrate all babies, no matter their baby, no matter the size. So, no, ma'am. Because your machine embroiders just like that machine embroiders. So that's a no. Trisha, you're welcome. Borcura Sewing and Crafts. Hi all. Hope everyone is doing great. Yes, definitely we are. Thank you for asking. Andrea says, Eve, the table you are using right now, is that sturdy enough for a machine? No, it is not. This table, actually, this is 3 tables. These tables came from Walmart, and I bought them because they are the folding tables. So it folds in half. They're 4 foot by 2 foot folding tables. And I bought these because they will come up to countertop height. Most of the other folding tables that you find out there, they only come up to regular folding table height. They don't come any higher. So I purchased 4 of these, even though right now I only have 3 out. But I purchased 4, and then I'm able to use my large cutting mat and use these as cutting tables, because trying to cut lower was murder on my back. So that's what I use here, are these 4 by 2 cutting tables. And as you see, it fits a, what is this, 56-inch cutting mat very well. And I don't have issues, and 2 people can cut side by side if they even need to, depending upon what we're cutting. But because I was doing large blankets regularly at one point in time, I needed more cutting space. So the way I had it was there were 2 4-foot tables here and 2 4-foot tables here, if I'm not mistaken. That's how I had it, to allow me to spread the tables apart and put a blanket stretch of regular large throw blanket across all of them. So thank you for your question. But I would not put, like I did do my 4x4 machine on here, yes. So my 4x4 embroidery machine, when I was stitching on this last week in the captain's video, it stitches just fine on this table. This small machine does. and taking it apart to show you guys last week how it looks right here in the sewing head. All of that stuff, yes, if it's this size machine, just great. I could even say maybe even a 5x7 should work just great on this table. It shakes a little. It's not like super sturdy, but it's sturdy enough to embroider a project with these smaller machines. Anything larger than this, I would say no. I wouldn't put a heat press on these tables. They're not heavy enough for a heat press. Okay. Let's see. Nora 22,000. I destroyed my poor LB 5000M with Coats and Clark's machine embroidery thread. Stay away from that stuff, she says. Each machine has its each machine loves and hates certain threads. But Metro EMB thread, they're very affordable. Their thread hasn't given me any issues. I use them on my multi-needle as well as the smaller machine. Metro EMB is who I would suggest for embroidery thread because their threads are excellent and you don't have all that extra linting and sloughing coming off of it. Some threads, you definitely want to check the weight of the thread and make sure that the weight isn't too heavy for your embroidery machine, because sometimes, now there are instances where you will need to use a heavier thread, like using Battenberg, I think is the name of it, lace. They use a thicker thread for that lace. But for the most part, your regular embroidery, you want to stick with your roughly 40 weight embroidery thread, and you can get that easily at MetroEMB.com. And they also, Metro EMB partners with Redline, and you get 15 spools of Metro EMB with your new 1501 Redline machine if you get one. Does the software Sew It Pro work on a Mac? It does, Boracua, if you use the Windows emulator. It is a Windows-based program. So you will need to use the Windows emulator in order to run Sew It Pro on a Macintosh. How that works, I know the theory behind it, but I don't own a Macintosh, so I don't know how to explain how to make that work. But there is a Facebook group on Sew It Pro. It's called So Help Me with Sew It Pro. There are several folks in there that use Sew It Pro on a Macintosh regularly, so they can tell you which emulator may work best for free, because I think some emulators you have to pay for, but they'll let you know what you can get to run Sew It Pro effectively. All right. Helpful tip, Sierra says, backing up your designs. If your computer goes down, you don't want to lose everything. Oh, man. Well, Sierra, that's one thing that I've preached on this channel often, okay? And I really need to start reinforcing that, honestly, with every show, even though I don't want to beat it into the ground and then folks like, she already said that, we're not going to do it. But one of the most painful things you can go through, other than losing a machine, tearing up a machine, is going and building your empire of embroidery designs, because we build designs, okay? Once you get into embroidery, there's no limit to the embroidery designs that you will amass, because you also want to purchase fonts, and each letter of the alphabet can have several sizes and all of that of the fonts. Each letter is its own embroidery design. So once you build up your storage of embroidery designs, if you lose them, you'll have to go through each website, if you even remember where all you got them from, if the website is even still there, and download your designs all over again. Okay, that's not fun. So there's a couple of things that I've suggested here on this channel that you can do to back up your embroidery designs. One of the easiest ways is get a external hard drive. Okay, an external hard drive is quite affordable. They sell them on Amazon. They have warranties with them, although external hard drives can break as well. So don't get it twisted. It's not an end all, avoid all issues and not have any problems whatsoever to get an external drive, but it can be some insurance to let you know you do have something over here on the side. Another option would be online storage. So Google Drive or Dropbox, or Microsoft has one. Microsoft One, I think is what it's called. OneDrive. OneDrive is also an option. You can store your embroidery files on the cloud. All right. The cloud is an excellent place because their stuff is supposedly guaranteed, and they have backups to their backups to their backups to their backups because they know they have millions. No data. Okay. Am I back up? Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what it is about my stream. It wants to act monkey every so often, and I apologize. Okay, so back to storing your embroidery designs and embroidery files. You have the option of putting your files in the cloud. That's an option as well. If you didn't catch that before, external drive is good. It's not fail-safe, but it's good. So you can do an external drive. You also can put them in the cloud. You have Dropbox, you have Google Drive, you have Microsoft OneDrive, a couple of options out there. Google, I know if you have a Google account, you get a certain amount for free, and you can put your embroidery files there. Another option, which is a little more time consuming, and it's one that I used to suggest heavily before Google Drive actually upped their game on storage, is email the embroidery design file itself to yourself. Because if you have the file and you've emailed it to yourself, it's stored in your email for forever. And you can create a folder in your email where you will have all of your embroidery file emails tucked away. So there's a couple of different options out there, but yes, thank you for suggesting that you back up your embroidery designs, because that is super, super important. All right, so let's go back up because I want to make sure, Sierra, thank you again for that. Make sure I don't miss anything. I float towels, but the Mighty Hoop works great and prefer them. Shirley Stewart says, yes, we do prefer Mighty Hoops around here. We're going to show the Mighty Hoops here in a moment. Andrea, did I answer your question? I don't know if I answered. Oh, yeah, I did answer it. Okay, cool. I use friction pins that disappear with heat. I have those as well, so that's another option as well. So crafty. Terrence Johnson, hello, how are you? Welcome. Janet McKinney. Hey, Janet McKinney, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Gail McNair says, come on, let me scroll. I got the 8x8 magnetic hoop, and it is my most used hoop. Love those magnetic hoops. Would love to have all of them. I would love to have all of them too. We're working on that. Love my mighty hoops. Eve Marr from Florida, welcome. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. The Amazon store link isn't working. Of course it's not. It wants to get on my nerves tonight, so I'll have to go back and fix that. Never use sticky stabilizer, Scooby-Doo says. Can you use it on the fabric itself? What do you mean, can you use it on the fabric? You can stabilize the fabric, but the sticky stabilizer, honestly, is used to stick to the hoop, because I wouldn't use it unless it was used on the hoop. And the reason being is because there's a fusible stabilizer that you fuse with heat that I would use if I needed the fabric itself to be stabilized and then hooped regularly. But the sticky stabilizer, strictly for the most part, is used just to allow you to not have to hoop with a 2-hoop method on a regular, not a regular hoop, but a fast frame. A sticky stabilizer actually mainly is used for fast frames, because otherwise you would have to clip your project to a fast frame, and who wants to sit there and clip all those clips? Or in a fast frame, you can do it, and sometimes that's the better option other than sticky stabilizer, but that's usually what the sticky stabilizer is made for, is for the fast frame system. But you can use it with regular hoops too. You just have to make sure that it's you push it to the back of the hoop and hold it in place. Kim Compton, I get my sticky stabilizer from Amazon. Amazon has some of everything. Hey, Byron F., how are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Miss Bingham, hello, hello. Tell your visitors hi. Thank you for joining us and popping in anyway. When ordering the larger mighty hoops for the red line, how do I make sure I get the correct arms? Miss Leela, you let them know that it is for the red line, and they'll make sure you have the right arms. They're very aware of all the different machines that are out there. And if I'm not mistaken, the red line is like almost a Tajima based structure, so they'll send the appropriate hoops for you. Has anyone looked into the new 10 needle machine? I heard there was a new one coming out. I have not seen it myself. Contessa Harris and Andrea Ross, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you to the both of you for being YouTube Who Group members and supporting our channel. I really appreciate it, even when my signal goes out. Sorry again for that happening earlier. What else do we have? Bought the PR670E about 4 months ago now, and I'm thinking of upgrading, but not sure if it's worth the extra cash. Borakira, a lot of that depends on how often are you embroidering bigger, because usually the reason you would go with a larger machine would be, number one, for if you constantly use more than 6 colors and you don't want to keep changing colors, even though what I found is usually, even with the 15 needle, if there's a project I'm working on or a project I'm getting ready to do, 9 times out of 10, the color that I'm going to be using on the new project isn't on the machine. So I end up having to change threads anyway. But once you do change your threads, you can constantly run that design over and over, and you don't have to worry about stopping and changing thread colors. That's one reason why you would want to go from 6 needles to possibly 10 needles, better yet 15. Then the other thing is to embroider bigger, a bigger surface area. All right, so how often do you actually embroider much bigger, right? You may find out that you don't go that much bigger, so why would you do that? The other option is because you get more of a surface area to embroider on hats, because I do know that the 6 needles are severely restricted with what you can embroider hat area wise, and embroidering hats on actually those machines are not super ideal anyway. But the 10 needle actually affords a much larger hat embroidery area. But the 15 needle eats hats for dinner in a good way, meaning you can embroider just about any kind of hat on that 15 needle without any issues. So check out the price difference between the 15 needle and the 10 needle. And also, if you're not really concerned about hats, if you're not going to be embroidering too much bigger, then the same amount of money you would spend to upgrade, could you possibly get another 6 needle, and then you would have 2 6 needle embroidery machines. I don't know. Or the same amount of money you would spend on the 6 needle, you can get a red line with 15 needles. It's entirely up to you. I had to slide that in there a little bit. Shelton, you purchased Sew Art and is now learning Sew It Pro. The sample seems to be limited, yes, to add purchase fonts. I don't know why, still learning. So if you're using the demo version, you are going to be limited. Okay, if you're using the demo version, it's going to be limited. But if you have the full version, you can use any purchase font. It doesn't matter where you got the purchase font from, because it will bring in the font embroidery files. But if I'm remembering the demo version correctly, you can use 3 color stops. So each letter will have its own stop, so to speak. So to that end, you would want to, have to use the full version in order to see how that works. But yes, it is a limited if you're using the demo. Singwing, hello from Trinidad. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And really quickly, let me scroll and make sure. What is you can zip your files and send to yourself on the same email strand. Yes, you can. Now, really quick, I want to show you guys, which I've shown you guys some folks before, but I want to go into can you burn the files to a CD? You can, Amanda, but the problem is so many laptops now are getting away from the CD drive. Like, I don't think this one has a CD drive on it at all. So you may, yeah, it doesn't. You may get a computer, a newer computer, and it doesn't even have a CD drive. So then you can't use it to get your stuff off of it. So CD may not be worth it for you. But let's go ahead and show you guys the Mighty Hoops because those are totally awesome. Well, actually, Christina Darkay got a new heat press, and I see Alvin. Alvin says, "How are you? I've been sewing for a long time. Found you on YouTube. Just got a Baby Lock Valiant 10 needle. I am 71 years old, and oh yes, congratulations to you. 71 years young. I'm not jealous at all. Congratulations to you and your new 10 needle. And just because you're 71 don't mean a darn thing. And you know it. You can handle that 10 needle just as well as you can a sewing machine. So we're here for you. Anytime you have any questions, just shoot us a message and let us know. Congratulations. And thank you for joining on in with us in the embroidery group. Join us on the hoop group and show us some of the projects you've been working on and a picture of your baby. Congratulations. And we also want to tell Miss Christina Darkay congratulations on her new congratulations. Alrighty, and I think Jackie, did you have something, Jackie? And Jackie, thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. Let's see, am I gonna be? I got my brother NQ1600E last week and had my first order. Yes, need to know how to turn the logo into the embroidery design. Congratulations. So Jackie, first of all, thank you for being a YouTube Hoop Group member. I definitely appreciate it, and thank you for your support of this channel. Whoops. And I want to tell you that in order to change a logo into an embroidery design, it has to be digitized. That's what digitizing is. With the embroidery group, I mean, in the embroidery arena, it's called digitizing, when you take a picture and turn it into an embroidery design. You can do that a number of ways, okay? Now, if you're wanting to do this on a regular basis, you constantly get requests for embroidery to be done with business logos, for instance, or something along that line, then you can invest in embroidery digitizing software. There's a couple of different options out there. There's a very affordable option that's an automatic digitizer, and it's called Sew Art. Now, there's still some tweaking that you would have to do to the final design to make sure that it looks its best. But Sew Art is out there. It's super affordable. It's $75. Affordable, super affordable, meaning in comparison to, because most of your embroidery digitizing software programs are going to be $1,000 and up, somewhere in that arena, because digitizing is so precise and experienced that the software reflects that in its price. And most instances, when you learn digitizing the proper way, you actually lay the stitches yourself for the most part. I mean, there's some automatic that you can do to, you know, get it to work, but in order to have it done and done top notch, you would learn the right way to digitize and how to get it done right. All right, so there's a couple of options. Sew Art is the sister program to Sew It Pro. If you want to give that a shot, there's a demo version available on my website, thebabiesbooty.com. You can try it out and see how you like it. You might not like it, but that's okay. There's other options out there. Another one that I've been known to use is Wilcom Hatch. Wilcom Hatch is $1,000. They do have a demo version as well on their website, so you can check them out. I think it's a 30-day demo version, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see what it's like to digitize with the big boys with that particular program. There are other programs out there. There really are. Some are less than $1,000, but for the most part, they're the better programs are, you know, kind of up in the price scale. Now, with digitizing, you might not want to digitize as much yourself. You know, there are people out there that will digitize for you. There might even be some right here in this group that digitize for hire, so to speak. But the one that I refer people to is JJdigitizing.com. JJdigitizing with the G.com. He digitizes for me, and I absolutely love his work. So that's another option that you can reach out and just pay. And depending upon the size and the complexity, he digitizes gorgeous, complex, huge pictures. He picture digitizes, and he does simple logos as well. And when you go to his website, you'll see examples of his work there. So there's a couple of options available out there, but digitizing is what you're looking for. And yes, it is available out there, but Sewit Pro is not a digitizing program. That's strictly for editing only. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the Mighty Hoops. I'm going to have to take the last 15 minutes to go into that and stop the questions for the time being, because I wanted to show you all my hooping station and how that works and how awesome it is to have magnetic hoops. Okay, so the cool thing about this particular system is, as you see, it's in a shirt format, okay, so that you can easily line up garments, but it also works with towels. It also works with just about anything: towels, blankets, shirts, whatever you need to embroider aside from hats. That's what this thing is great for. And what makes this so awesome is that it holds the embroidery stabilizer away from the hoop so that you don't have to worry about your stabilizer puckering. Okay, and let's show you what that's all about. So here is one of my Mighty hoops, and it's just like a regular hoop in that there's two parts to it. There's the front ring and there's the back ring. The front ring is what holds the brackets. It has the brackets that clip into the machine, and here's the back. So if you've never seen Mighty hoops before, this is what they are, right? And ordinarily, just like you saw me do the kitchen towel earlier with that first magnetic hoop with the magnets, you lay the bottom ring down, you lay your stabilizer, you lay your fabric, and then you clamp this down. Now, before I show it to you on here, I'm going to show you the Mighty hoop right here on the table so that you can see why these are called Mighty hoops. Okay, they're called Mighty hoops for a very, very good reason. All right, so let's see about showing you that really quick right now. If you've never been exposed to Mighty hoops before, then this is your first time. So the hoops themselves are called Mighty hoops. The system that you use to hoop with is called the Hoop Master. All right, you can call them and let them know that we sent you. Don't think there's any extra perks to it, but they are awesome people and they'll get them right out to you. But like I said, this is the back ring, this is the front ring, this is the Mighty hoop. Matter of fact, let me bring you closer so that you can feel the excitement that we're going to go through with these hoops. All right, so let me tilt you down just a little bit and slide you in. Let's make sure it's more hoop than anything. All right, so bottom ring right here, top ring right here. This is a Mighty hoop, okay? I'm not even gonna drop it, and my fingers are out of the way, as you notice. All right, you see that? I didn't even touch it, and that was a full, if not 2 inches, inch and a half away from that bottom ring. There's magnets all around these hoops. All right, every hoop is made the same way. The magnetic force with these hoops are strong. As a matter of fact, they're so strong they come with their own warning label that says no pacemakers. So if you have a pacemaker, they really don't want you using these hoops because that's how strong the magnets are. And it's a pinch hazard. If my fingers were anywhere in this area when that hoop came down, I've been pinched before and it hurts. And if your bones aren't strong enough, it can break a finger too. But that's how strong these are. So you can hoop leather jacket, Carhartt jackets. You can hoop thick blankets, thick towels, all that stuff with these hoops easily, without breaking a sweat, you can hoop with these mighty hoops. All right. Now, these are the mighty hoops, but let me show you the hooping station, because the hooping station is just as cool as the hoops, right? So let's bring this over. All right, and I wish I had time to go into showing you how all of these numbers and stuff line up to help you determine where, because this is made, as you see, it says right and left. If you're doing a left chest logo, this helps you line up your logos and make sure that your logos are centered. And once you lock your guides into place, this is one type of guide, and then this is the other type of guide. This is for your left chest logos here with the 5x5 mighty hoop. But this is a whole different ballgame. We'll have to go into that another day. But for the time being, I'm using the large hoop guides. And normally once you set this, you screw it and lock it into place so that it doesn't move. And then once it's locked into place, then you can just continuously hoop over and over and over and over, and you don't have to worry about it moving. Okay. So if I were to do sweatshirts, for instance, and this is the size hoop that I'm going to do for my sweatshirts, well, I would set my size. I would set the guides for this particular size hoop. All right, so once that's in place, I screw it, lock it in place so that this doesn't move anymore. And that way my hoops can always go into the same place. So you would have one hoop set or even two, so that while one is embroidering, you can come and go ahead and hoop the second one. Now the cool thing about this is once your hoop is here on your station, this is entirely too big, so I would ordinarily cut this down, but just to show you guys how this works, you put your hoop down and you lay your stabilizer in place over the top, and you lay your clamps in place to hold the stabilizer nice and straight. All right, I'm gonna straighten that again in a minute. I like to get most of it down. There we go. And your stabilizer is in place. And what you would do is use your marks, and let's go ahead and take this old stabilizer off and the old hoop and line your, if I were doing this with multiple towels, say I have a 12-piece towel order. So my hoop is where I need it to be, center it. And what I would do is know that if I line the bottom of my towel up with these brackets, now each design you do, wherever you line it up, is going to be the same with each one. Okay. So just so happens the measurement of this towel puts me in the center of this hoop every time if I line it up with the bottom of this whole system. Okay. So if it's lined up right here and I lay every towel, make sure every towel is centered, make sure every towel is lined up on the sides, because it's just as wide as this, and lined up along the bottom, then every single towel I put on here is going to be hooped the exact same way, and I don't have to mark every towel after that. The first one, you mark it, you set your place, then you come back, and that's all you have to do. And then after that, you just take your hoop, lock it in place, pull it off, and there's your hoop. Now this one is wrinkled because I took it off of the other hoop, and it still got the bow on there, the marks and indentation from the other hoop. But the back is perfectly straight. Now in this instance, I could just kind of tug it a little bit, as you see, and straighten that out because it was hooped before. So the creases from the other hoop, you know, are a mess. But if you look, it's lined up the exact same way, straight across. You know it's straight because it was straight on the machine. And there you have it hooped. Now, I can move it up a little bit more so that this lines up with the center of the hoop. But that's pretty much how that works. So let's do it again so that I can show you how to get that lined up with the center. I love these mighty hoops, y'all. It's just everything and then some. These mighty hoops are phenomenal. They're not inexpensive, but you can see why it's well worth it. So we're going to take that, open this back up, Now my stabilizer is going to be a little crinkly because I've already used it. But before I put the stabilizer on, actually, let's line this line up. All right. So the center of this towel needs to go across the center with these divots right here, right? So I'm going to use this towel to line it up, and it's just below the writing, and then feel for that. There it is. All right, and now I'm going to see, actually I messed up. Let's fold that up first and make sure that's at the center. It needs to come up a little bit. Okay, so here's our center, and now I need to look and see where this towel is on this hoop. So on the, sorry, hoop master, and this seam needs to be lined up with the bottom where that hinge is in order to get it in the center of the hoop. And let me double check that and make sure I'm right. Pretty darn close. So we're going to move this up, and I'm going to put my stabilizer back in place, open these back up. And like I said, it's not probably going to be hooped as tight because it's already crinkled. You don't want to reuse your stabilizer. You can, but it's not ideal. And as I mentioned, this crease needs to be lined up at the bottom of the brackets down here. And once you do that, then you won't need the line anymore for the next towel that you use. If I were to pull out another one, I would be able to show you. But we're running out of time because I got 3 minutes, y'all. That's crazy. All right, and now again, make sure that my brackets are where they need to be. Lock it in place and pull it off. And there I have hooped stabilizer and project. Okay, and again, because it is hoop tight but not super duper, oh my gosh, I can't move anything tight, just give it a little tug if your fabric has creases and it needs to be stretched out any, but it's hooped. These are mighty hoops. They're made mainly for the multi-needle embroidery machine, but you can use this for DIME. And as you saw that one from Amazon, they do have a simpler option available for the smaller single needle machines. Okay, and I think Mighty Hoops even had something available for a single needle machine, but don't quote me on that because I haven't looked for the single needle. So these are Mighty Hoops. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching some hooping today. We did quite a bit with a couple of different options of hoops. We did our regular 4x4 hoop, and it's 2 pieces with regular stabilizer. Then we also showed you the 4x4 magnetic hoop that is available on Amazon. Then you can use the 4 magnets that come with this, and you can even add a couple of extra of your own magnets for a little bit more insurance. Then you also can use this specific hoop because it's so flat on the back with sticky stabilizer, if that's something you so choose to do. It shows you how the sticky stabilizer works. Also, we discussed if you wanted to float, that's fine, which would involve you hooping just stabilizer and laying your project on top, and you would have to pin around the outside of it very carefully. I don't suggest pins because it can break your embroidery machine foot if it hits the pin, but pinning can be done, or spray adhesive, or there's a basting stitch built into some embroidery machines that will stitch around where your embroidery design is going to go, and it will hold your embroidery blanket in place, whether it's a towel or blanket or whatever. So you can float as well. Or if you are in the multi-needle arena and would like Mighty Hoops, you can go to Mighty Hoop and check out the Hoop Master as well. This has saved me majorly, especially if you have multi items of a project. So if you have 12, 24, 50, 100 of a product that you need to embroider, whether it's shirts, 50 shirts, whether it's 50 blankets, whether it's 50 towels, whatever the case may be, you have this in place where you can set your hoop size, set it, forget it, and then constantly come back and know where to put your design in the same place every single time. There's more than multiple ways to use this system to have that effect in order to maximize your productivity in your embroidery business. All right. So I appreciate each and every one of you for joining us this evening. I had a ball. I love embroidery and talking about embroidery. But next week, we're going to be discussing rhinestones. So I look forward to doing some rhinestones with you next week and showing you what blinging some masks looks like. And then we'll also answer any other questions you may have on machines for embroidery or projects with embroidery or sublimation for that matter. And we still always have time to ring the bell for the new babies that you get for your embroidery studio. So I appreciate you taking the time to join me this Sunday evening. I look forward to seeing you next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. And of course, as always, until the next time we see you here on the Baby's Booty channel, we hope you have happy embroidering. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us this evening. Have a good night. Bye.